Next video is going to be about the Abyssinian Crisis. It works best if you use it as a follow-up to the League of Nations videos and the Manchurian Crisis. So, what have we got going on? So a bit of background to it. Basically, the Abyssinia is in Africa, okay? And a lot of Africa at this time have fallen under the control of European countries and been taken as colonies. Abyssinia hadn't. Abyssinia was free, okay? Now it was next to Italian colonies in Eritrea and Somaliland, and basically Italy had a history with Abyssinia which dated back to 1896, and it was a blot on the Italian military history because Italy had lost to Abyssinia in the Battle of Adwa, so there was a huge humiliation surrounding this, okay? Now, Mussolini is in charge of Italy at this point, and he wants to recreate the Roman Empire. He wants a second dawn of this, and he wants to establish Italy as a power, and on top of that, getting any revenge, getting any minerals, getting any lands, showing, well, I'm succeeding where everybody else before failed in 1896. That's only going to help Mussolini. Now, there had been a treaty of friendship between Italy and Abyssinia signed in 1928. This means nothing to Mussolini. It's not really worth the paper it's written on. So, the League of Nations, how they deal with Benito Mussolini is they don't want to fall out with him. Adolf Hitler, by this point, right, is rearing his head in Europe. And basically, Britain and France wanted a third power to help deal with Hitler. So Britain, France and Italy signed the Stresa Pact, and the idea was that, you know, we'd club together and stop Hitler. In Mussolini's eyes, this means Britain and France, you really need me, and you're going to let me basically do what I want now with Abyssinia, right? So the public surface would be that the League of Nations were going to do something and protect Abyssinia if anything ever happened, but in reality, we all know the League of Nations was going to do nothing to Mussolini because of the value he had. Now, in October of 1935, Abyssinia and Italy clash at Wall, right? And Italy goes after Abyssinia following this. And basically Abyssinia stands no chance. Italy have built their army up. It is a modern army. Tanks, gas, aeroplanes. Going against an Abyssinian army of foot soldiers and cavalry men on horseback. Abyssinia had no chance. And the Emperor of Abyssinia is a man called Haile Selassie. And he basically knows, apart from the roads slowing people down and the sheer size of Abyssinia, the League of Nations was Abyssinia's only hope. So off he goes. Now, if you're looking at this as the League, this is unprovoked bullying. Again. So once again, a committee's set up. And the League would ban the sale of any arms and like weapons to Italy. They will stop some goods being sold to Italy. All loans to Italy must stop. And also imports from Italy, so Italian products, would also be banned. So they're basically throwing the book at Italy. However, the areas where they really could have hurt Italy will also hurt others and won't happen. So to investigate them, ban oil exports. Ban the oil. Right? You need oil. You need oil to fight a war. But you can't. Because the oil comes from America, and America is not going to cooperate with this when they are in the middle of a depression. It would cripple places like, it would cripple Texas. And it's going to affect the American economy from there. America aren't going to do it. Okay, so let's ban coal. Alright? Let's ban coal. Well, that isn't going to happen either, because Britain's suffering. And if we ban coal, it's going to affect the British economy, particularly in places such as the northeast of England and Nottingham. So protecting British mining was way more important than Abyssinia. Britain and France also had the Suez Canal. Now, this was the supply route for Mussolini into Abyssinia. We could have closed it. We didn't, because we didn't want to fall out with Italy because of their value in dealing with Hitler, and because we didn't want a war. Nobody wanted a repeat of World War I. So this didn't happen. So this leads us to the Haut-Laval Pact, and it's named after Samuel Haut, British, and Pierre Laval, French. And basically you've got British and French ministers are going to come up with a plan to stop the fighting. And the idea was to divide Abyssinia basically, and give Italy bits and Abyssinia bits. However, all the best bits, valuable in minerals, valuable for trade, were going to go to Italy. All the bad bits, such as the mountainous areas, the poor areas with nothing of any value in it at all, Abyssinia would get to keep. So Abyssinia, on the surface it was a solution. Underneath it wasn't. Abyssinia was going to get done over here basically, right? And the plans leak to the press, and there's hell on. And Hoare and Laval were forced out of their jobs, and the League of Nations was shown as being in huge trouble, because it was shown the key powers of the League would put their own interests ahead of the actual good of the League of Nations. Britain and France did not want to get involved in any type of falling out with Italy or any war over this, so people was looking out for themselves. So Mussolini won, he continued his invasion, he took Addis Ababa in May 36, Haile Selassie was forced to run away, he protested about the League in Geneva in Switzerland, failing to protect Abyssinia. But the outcomes are probably more significant, and those outcomes are, first of all, America can't believe what it's seeing, right? But March 1936, by this point, Hitler has seen the failings of the League happening, he's seen the distractions the League is facing, and he's already gone into Rhineland, he's already put soldiers there, right? Nothing happens here. You see Hitler and Mussolini then sign the Rome-Berlin Axis, right? So Hitler has seen the League of Nations failures, this has encouraged him, and Mussolini, he'd seen how poor the League had been in dealing with the Manchurian crisis. So the League of Nations would exist till 1946, but in reality it pretty much died with the Abyssinian crisis. And if you want a quote from a historian, A.J.P. Taylor, he says the real death of the League was in 1935, right? So Abyssinian crisis. Not 1939, which was the start of World War II, which it was meant to set up and to stop. Not 1945, when World War II ended. He says it's in 1935, and he says one day it was a powerful body imposing sanctions, seemingly more effective than ever before. The next day it was an empty sham, everyone scuttling from it as quickly as possible, and Hitler watched. So Hitler was learning lessons from what was going on with failures in Manchuria and Abyssinia. Hope this helps. Thanks very much. I'll get round to some Hitler's foreign policy shortly.